Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt, and this is the new Ford Mustang. There's a little problem. Usually in these best and the rest videos, the pros and cons are determined by how each category stacks up to the other competitors. But the Camaro is dead, and the Challenger was killed, but now is rumored to be coming back, so nothing's really been confirmed. So what this kind of means is that the new Mustang is running unopposed from conventional competitors and now finds itself competing against things from Germany and Japan like Supra 3-liter and a Nissan Z and BMW M240/M2. So we're going to focus on those for the video today, but we're going to hit the highlights, the best and the rest, to see just how this thing shakes out. Let's get into it. Now, I can only come up with one genuine con for the negative side of this video, and it is practicality, but there's a little bit of a star next to it just because of the competition that we're talking about and where it shakes out within that set. Well, the Supra and the Z don't have rear seats, so inherently they are less practical, but the 2 Series does have rear seats, and it's got a smaller footprint, and yet it still manages to have rear seats that are significantly larger and a trunk that has a bigger capacity and a more practical opening. But I mean, you're looking at buying a Mustang. Is practicality at the top of your list? Probably not, but this is an internet video, so we have to be thorough. There it is. But then talking about all the places that this thing shines, we're going to start with power and pace. Now, the Mustang GT, 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, the Coyote we're all familiar with. Now it's making 480 horsepower, which is up like 20, maybe even, I think 30 actually from the previous generation. I think the original S6, or S550, I keep getting confused. S550 came out with 460, then with emission stuff it came down to 450, but anyway, it's 480 now in the GT, 418 pound-feet. If you get the performance pack with the exhaust, the performance exhaust, you get like 6 more horsepower. Now if you want 500 horsepower, you can get that in the Dark Horse. This thing will do 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds, again, with the performance pack. That's reporting from Motor Trend. But what about the competitors? You've got something like the Supra, which is very quick. You've got 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6, BMW's B58 under the hood of that thing, 382 horsepower. Yeah, right. 369 pound-feet of torque, but it's also turbo power, and that thing is rapid. It feels very sharp. Also 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds, much like you get here. But then there's the Z. Again, 3-liter twin-turbo V6 this time, 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet. Doesn't sound like this, though. 0 to 60 in just under 4.5 seconds, so it's a bit slower. And then the M2, which again, kind of a fringe fit here, should really kind of save the M2 comparison for the Dark Horse, but we're not going to get the Dark Horse this year. But I haven't been in the M240i, and we were just in the M2, so it's pretty fresh. So in the M2, 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6, this is the M engine, as opposed to what you get in the Supra, which is the non-M, so that's the S58 in the M2, 450 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds in the Auto. So that is the quickest one. So the Mustang then is the power king, and if we remove the comparison or we do a straight fight with the M240i versus the M2, it would also be kind of a 2-3-ish way tie for the pace king as well. But with that, we're gonna head to Road America and put this thing around the Motorplex to shake it down. And then there's the looks, which is always hard to judge on because it is subjective, but I like it. And in full honesty, I really like the way all of them look, the M2 being the least attractive, but the Z has that classic 240 influence that I can't get enough of. The Supra has the long hood and super flared hips that I love. And this Mustang looks the absolute business. Hot take, the GT does look better than the Dark Horse in my opinion. It doesn't look like a huge departure from the S550 though, and that's fine with me. It looks low, long, and mean like a modern Mustang should. It's got BMW competition wheels, but they're finished in bronze, which I love. Bronze accents are the new black accents, people, by the way. But no, I honestly love the way that the new Mustang looks. If it were me and my money personally, I would go in Vapor Blue with the bronze accent package. That's choice. And here's why the Mustang runs away with it, now that the Camaro and the Challenger are dead. This car is so loud, I cannot believe it. Yes, you do have quiet start or good neighbor start, and yes, you have 4 settings for the exhaust, but when you're on the track and this thing is in loud mode, it is so loud, so loud. I love it. And the rev matching on downshift is super crisp. We'll head into this left-hander here, into third, second, awesome shifts, right in the right gear. I can manage power, and then I'm off. Wow, what a thing. I mean, the other cars in this competition, the Germans, or the M2 and the Supra and the Z, they sound okay, but this thing, it's just not even a fair fight. Just one more. But as we start to talk about interior design and build quality, there are some pretty big changes that they made for the S650 that old heads and purists aren't too fond of. Like, there's no more double bubble dash design. It's replaced in this premium trim with a dual screen housing. There's also no more toggle switches, lame, but there's a lot of things that will feel familiar, like the door cards are almost identical, the whole center console and cup holders identical to the S550. And yes, the interior is largely about the screens now, but you can really feel the difference in build quality from the last gen to this gen. It looks and feels a step up market. And okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of a rant here because I've seen more than a few reviews seemingly triggered by the screens.
Ready for another test drive?
Yeah, I think the focus groups are going to be very happy with this.
No, you know what? This isn't gonna work.
Yeah, you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
Need more screens?
Needs more screens.
You're just dealing with a massive amount of weight, and then of course the bullshit tech that they're trying to force on you on the interior now.
And my thoughts are this. What the hell did you expect? Look at every other car that's been rolled out in the past 8 years. What do they all have in common? Bigger and more screens. Part 2, who cares? Like, this and off-road people seem categorically offended by technology and trying to make your life easier. The screens do nothing to deter from the driving experience. So who cares? The only thing that has merit is the drift brake is weird. I don't love it, but the big screens, like, get over it. Doesn't make anything worse than last year. Sorry about that. Let's move on. I'm gonna chill it out. Got the exhaust in quiet mode because I want to talk about some of the livability and on-road performance. We've talked about the track stuff now, but here's a place that I was pleasantly surprised with this new Mustang as well. It's actually a really good daily. The mag ride here is brilliant. It's great on track as we saw, but here on the road, softened back into normal mode, I mean, this thing is great. It becomes really comfy. And then the steering is kind of light and numb, and we didn't love that on track, but on the road here, it's fine. It's not a problem. I won't lie to you, the visibility isn't amazing, and at no point do I forget that I'm in something big, but that's not any different than last year, and it's not like it's a problem. But so long as you don't need to put anyone in the back seat, I don't really see why this wouldn't be a perfectly adequate daily. Ah, technology. The thing that everyone and their mom seems bothered by in the S650 here. Which again, I don't get how you didn't see this coming. And again, I'm finding it hard to understand how more features and comforts make the car any worse. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, they're wireless. You also get a nice reverse camera. Like, am I supposed to be bothered that a video game company did the graphics? They look awesome, especially when you're changing drive modes. And am I supposed to be upset that I can see just about everything I want to see while I'm on track? Temps, brake pressure, etc. I will say I don't love the Digi E handbrake thing, but I get that they're trying to do like a drift brake thing, but other than that, there's nothing about the technology that deters from the driving experience, and a lot of the stuff makes it easier to live with on a day-to-day basis. So I have no problem with it. And here's a fun little category I just titled treats, because, well, I probably could have lumped this thing into tech, but some of the things we talk about are less software and more hardware, so I just called it treats. But even here, in 2023, going into 2024, the era that V8 is bad, battery is good, the Mustang still gives you fun little gimmicks to make the Tesla owner in your life cringe a little bit. You've got things like remote rev, so you can turn on the car and rev it at somebody standing near it. You've got line lock to heat your tires, aka destroy them. You've got auxiliary gauges in which you can keep track of all of your pressures and temperatures and everything that you want to see while you're on track. That was awesome. And you have a drift brake here, which will legitimately help you learn how to drift, but at a safe distance from cars and coffee. And you can set a custom launch RPM if you're just, tired of having a clutch and a flywheel. I mean, some of these things aren't super new, but the fact that Ford is fitting this and GM and Stellantis couldn't even justify building a car, I mean, that speaks volumes, does it not? And the last category we're going to talk about is price. The Mustang GT itself starts at $43,000. Compare that to where a Supra 3-liter starts at almost $55,000, and you've got a lot of savings there. Now, the Nissan Z is a much more close competitor at $42,000 to start, but your M2 from BMW starts at just over $63K. But again, of course, the M240i, which may or may not be a more direct competitor, starts at just under $40K, so pretty close to the GT. But here's the thing, the Mustang is optioned up here with the performance pack and the bronze accents and whatever else to over $61,000. And that is a lot of money. That's knocking on M2 money. And that's a lot of money, yeah, but I'm gonna be totally honest, you're getting a lot of car here, and you're getting something here that you're not getting anywhere else. You've got mag ride, you've got great tires, wheels, it looks cool, big V8, NA experience, rear drive, six speeds and 3 pedals. I think it's time to grab the key and go for a drive. Oh my God. Bleed off brakes. That right there. That is all this car ever needed to be. Was fast and loud. It's got brilliant performance stuff. It's got aggressive tires, it's got an LSD, it's got the wheels, it's got the brakes, it's got the mag ride. It's so buttoned up, but especially with the Camaro gone and the Challenger gone and everything else being TTV6 or inline 6, all it needed to be was this. I can just enjoy this thing at 45 miles an hour, at 30 miles an hour, at 25 miles an hour, just with the sound, with the snap on the downshift, and then just the absolute howl. That's all it needed to be. That's all it ever needed to be in my book. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. This is so honest about what it is, and it's so great for it. And that's all I have to say. So that is the best and the rest of the new S650 Mustang. If you couldn't tell throughout the course of the video, I loved this thing. It's not a huge change from the S550. It's the same chassis, same wheelbase, same general engine. But with the fact that there's no Camaro and no Challenger anymore, it does run unopposed, so it doesn't really need to change that much. It's the only one left that you can really get. Front engine, rear drive, big NA V8. Is it the perfect car? No. But it is exactly what I'm looking for in a Mustang? Yes. So thank you to Ford for letting us have a go. We'll see you in the dark horse.